Hello, it's Janello. On today's video, we're talking about mango pickles. We can't talk about mango pickles without talking about Indian pickles because it's kind of a thing in India. But before we get ahead of ourselves, welcome to this week's episode. Here I do taste tests, food hacks, things like that. So if you're into that kind of stuff, hit subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again on a future video. Let's get into this week's video. Last week, I needed to do a spice run. You may have seen that on my Instagram at a place called Kalustyan's, which is in Manhattan. It's about a 30-minute subway ride from the studio. Kalustyan's is a magical store full of tons of things from India, but also tons of things from cultures all over the place. It's a bit of an international food mecca for me. If you're ever in town, definitely check it out. While I was there, I figured, let me pick up something interesting to taste. I wanted to pick something that was Indian because it's kind of the root of what Kalustyan's is. So I went with something pretty standard and basic as far as things from India are concerned, which is the mango pickle. Before we get into tasting, let's talk about what mango pickles actually are and where they came from, when they started doing that, and really what the whole pickling thing in India is about. It'll give us some context for when we get to the tasting. Pickles in India are totally a thing. You see them in street markets.
Bombay Flower Market, Bombay. You're in the market in Mysore.
You see them all over the place. And they pickle pretty much anything and everything. In fact, it dates back quite some time in India to when pickling even started there. It's especially popular in southern India, but really India-wide, they're pickling fanatics. Most commonly, you'll hear it referred to as achar, but there are at least 20 different names for it. There's probably hundreds when you get into the different regions of India, referring to the same thing or method, which is pickling, and then what they pickle also varies by region. What we're trying today is mango pickles, which is maybe the most celebrity of all of the pickles. It's something you find in most of the Indian restaurants here in New York City. This particular recipe is the house-made version from Kalustyan's. It even says homemade recipe on the front of this thing. Ingredients-wise, we've got the green mangoes, which is an important thing. If you didn't realize that while we did the history lesson a second ago, the mangoes aren't like the orange ripe mangoes that you know of. They're green, unripe mangoes that they use for the pickling. In addition to that, there's fenugreek. Fenugreek is a herb that's much like oregano, kind of has an oregano taste, but it's got its own sort of distinct flavor, as many Indian spices do. Additionally, there's red chili, turmeric, coriander, some fennel, some cumin, some ajwain. Ajwain is just another name for caraway seeds that you're probably familiar with, and some kalonji. Kalonji is simply black cumin. It's not like the cumin you know, it's really truly black. It's similar in flavor, but again, slightly different. Of course, oil, salt, and citric acid to get the pickling going. So cracking into this, does not need to be refrigerated generally. I mean, in the street markets, you'll see mounds of this stuff just piled up high in the South Indian heat, and people are just buying it all day long. So does not need to be refrigerated because of the pickling in it. But you know what? I put it in the refrigerator because it's just what we do here. So on smell, it's what gets me about this that I don't super love is the oil. There's something about the oil smell after the pickling that I just don't love it. But when you eat it with things, it is far better, and I love it when I'm mixing with things. I'm doing the taste test without things because it's just, it's more pure, right? So we're gonna just put a little bit in here. I mean, you can see a lot of the spices. You can see the cumin in here. You can see the coriander for sure. Obviously, you can see the mango. It's kind of hard to identify all of the different elements and spices that are in it. So it's not like pickles you get in the jar here in the States where you're like, those are the pickles and there's all the brining liquid around it. A little bit different kind of pickling. It smells like all of those spices. It has a bit of a it kind of smells like it would be hot, but I don't believe that it is hot. And this particular one could be hot, but so let's give it a taste. So I know it looks like I don't like it, but because it's such an intense taste, I mean, it is actually super good. You put this on a sandwich or something like that, it's delicious. But when you get a hit of all that stuff straight into your mouth at once, it is a bit overwhelming, I'm not going to lie. It has a tangy, almost bitter kind of taste, but there is a little bit of sort of sweet in there too, not from the mangoes, just from just the overall pickling liquid and pickling process. When you get an actual chunk of mango, it's a little more palatable straight out of the jar. But think about putting this on chicken, putting it as a little side piece when you're kind of getting a little bit of rice and a little bit of meat or other vegetables that you've cooked for the meal. So in essence, it is a condiment that you'll see on many Indian tables and in many Indian restaurants that goes along as an accoutrement to whatever it is that your main dish is that you're actually eating. This particular version is quite delicious. There is a few other versions on the market that I like a little bit better, a little bit fancier. But as far as a traditional home-style mango pickle, this definitely checks the box. So if you see it in your local store, give it a try. I think it has a very unique flavor. And more importantly, it's something that is so core to Indian culture and food. If you're exploring the food world of India, you can't not try mango pickle and some of the other types of things that they pickle in this same way. Click that subscribe button and give a thumbs up so more people can see this video, discover mango pickles, and maybe find their new favorite condiment. That's it for this week. I'll see you guys on the next video.